What advice do you have for editing students and young professionals who want to cut feature films one day?
It's difficult. It's much more difficult to get into feature editing specifically, I think, today, because really before you could work as an assistant to an editor in an established environment and you could get your training, so to speak. But it doesn't, again, work like that anymore. So I have had, and before there also used to be a first assistant, a second assistant, and so on. So I still try to get a second assistant on the job, but it means bread and water, unfortunately. But it is to get the practical experience, and the other thing is to watch films. It's I still sit, if I like a film, I go back and I watch it again and again, and I try and figure out, but what is it that they did? Why does that moment have such an impact on me? So I watch it over and over again. But the practicalities of it, of getting into editing, it's very difficult. It's you can imagine if there's a R4 million budget for a local feature, it only goes that far. So I would say make contact with editors if that's your interest. Go and spend a week, so it's networking.
Okay. Tell me more about your editing team and the different roles people play, and who are the members and what do they do?
The editing teams are small these days, as I'm sure you know, because of budget constraints. But when I talk about an assistant, assistant sounds like there's a hierarchy and that person is lower. I don't really see it as such. The assistant, because I get very nervous when people start talking about workflows and so on. I hate cables. I don't know where they go, what they're meant to be doing. So my assistants are very important in that sense, that they have to, just like I'm there to serve the vision of the director, the assistants kind of have to be there to make that possible for me. So I want to come in the morning and sit down and carry on with that internal process that I'm busy with, and not worry about what Kodak and that stuff. But I very much like to involve the team that work with me in the actual cutting. Usually your assistants are younger people, so they have different ideas and they look at things differently. So often I'm cutting a scene and I'll give it to an assistant and say cut, and if they come up with something better, hey, then let's, so it's kind of a give and take process.
When you're looking for assistant editors, what qualities and skills stand out to you? What would you be looking for?
Other than making a good cup of tea, I want commitment. Commitment, yes, they need to be technically more advanced almost than I am. So the technical skills are important, but for me it's about other things. The technicalities, you can always get around it. It's about the tired old words, passion and commitment, but that still holds true.